Divided World, Divided Class, Appendix V, Egalitarianism and the Labor Aristocracy. Egalitarianism is the belief that relations between persons and nations should tend towards equality of income and political power. Associated in modern times with the ideals of the French Revolution, for Marxists, egalitarianism is normally considered a radical bourgeois ideology, which is tangential to the historical reality of class struggle. Egalitarianism is alien to Marxist political economy, in the sense that socialist accounting does not proceed upon any moral imperative to level all incomes, but on a calculation based on value creation and distribution. First of all, Marx argues that under socialism, the principle of distribution is not one of precisely equal distribution of the social product to all citizens, but rather, quote, from each according to her abilities, to each according to her work performed. As such, those who contribute more value to society through their labor may expect to receive more of the social product than those who contribute less. Political considerations determined by the perceived need for particular kinds of labor may also enter into the income distribution in socialist society. Secondly, following an argument made by Aristotle, Marx argues that under communism, where the principle of, quote, from each according to her ability to each according to her needs applies, different individuals with different aptitudes, personal characteristics, and needs require particular and therefore potentially unequal distribution of the social product. Thirdly, Marxists often associate a purely egalitarian concern to alleviate poverty with reformism, arguing that capitalism cannot be transformed through a more equitable distribution of its products, since the unequal distribution of the social product follows directly from the private ownership of the means of production. Unless the means of production are socialized, inequality is inevitable, no matter how sincere the attempt to create equality at the level of consumption. Finally, by conceiving economics as a zero-sum game between haves and have-nots, strict egalitarianism as a kind of, quote, theory of the production relations, as opposed to the theory of the productive forces criticized by anti-imperialist Marxism, is opposed to historical materialism. The central thrust of the latter situates class struggle within an economic system conditioned by, and in turn conditioning, the development of the productive forces. Where these are maintained at a low level, the predominance of small-scale and individual units of production must tend to engender social inequalities and class divisions that may only be combated through high levels of state coercion. Nonetheless, socialism undoubtedly aims towards conditions of international equality. Indeed, enduring inequality between peoples has been correctly and forcefully denounced by socialist theoreticians and politicians as a sure sign of national oppression and national exploitation, just as enduring inequality within socialist nations has been understood as signaling a material basis for the restoration of capitalism. As such, examining global income distribution on an egalitarian basis is by no means anathema to the socialist project. End of section.